Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video you will learn how to use the Bootstrap web-based UI within the PowerApps, and also how to use fontawesome, one of the free icons which comes along with thousands of free icons you can use within PowerApps. So for the today video I would go through the steps in the content which I mentioned here. First I would go through what is fontawesome. If few of them doesn't know what is fontawesome is, I'll just give a brief idea. Then how to import it into your Excel, so later you can use it in the PowerApps. And finally you can design a Bootstrap kind of UI using the fontawesome and create a nice web-based kind of a form within Microsoft PowerApps. Let me show you what is fontawesome. You can see here, this is the fontawesome website. You can just type fontawesome.com and /icons. There are free icons as well as the pro. Pro is you need to pay a monthly subscription or a yearly, and you can get all those pro icons from this website. So basically I'm going to import all these icons which comes for free into your PowerApps, and you can use it within your PowerApps to design the form. To get started, you first have to navigate to this URL, which is the desktop. Download the desktop PowerApps, desktop fontawesome. You can download right away here. Once you click on the download, you would download it into your local desktop. I'm downloading it right away here. Now that the fontawesome is downloaded, I'm going to unzip that, extract it into your whatever the folder you're looking for. It takes a while to extract. Once it is extracted, you would see the folders. Navigate to the SVG folder here. Probably I can zoom it out for you. You can see now I changed the view to make it clear. There would be 3 folders: brands, regular and solid. Depends on the usage, you can import the icons. Basically what I do is I would import everything into an Excel in a different table so that you can use it whenever you need it. For this sample I would import the solid icons which comes with the fontawesome, because most of the time I use the solid icons. So you navigate to the solid folder. So now you need to open the command prompt and rename this SVG file, all this SVG file into an XML file, so that you can use it within your Excel. Let me navigate to the folder. I navigated to this folder where all the icons are there. Use this command. Later I would share the command as well. SVG to XML file. A simple command which will convert your rename all your existing SVG file into an XML file. It does it for bulk. It is done. So now you can see all SVG file has been converted into XML file. Now it is ready for Excel import. Now open the Excel file. Now that the fontawesome is being ready with the XML file, open up a new blank Excel like this, just a plain Excel, and navigate to the data. You can go to get data, from file, from folder. So just make a note of the path which you can navigate in the menu, from folder. Now copy your folder path where the XML files are being saved. This is the folder path which all the SVG converted XML file are there. Click OK. You would see a snippet of the file which has been importing. That would be it will not show all the data, but it would just give you the snippet of file to be imported. Now click on the transform data. The transform data will show you a preview of all the XML attributes which are there in the XML which you have done right now, and navigate to the content column and you see the combined files. Click on this icon. When you click on that icon, it would try to split out that into a column, multiple column. Click OK. So once you click OK, it would split out into the name, path and attribute, which is the view box. And one last step, if you see here there is a divert icon, click on this icon. You would have some option to expand. No need to specify any value, just click OK. That's it. So this is the final step which you can see. In that you would see the name, path and the view box. So now the data has been transformed successfully. It is ready to import. Now click on close and load. It takes a time to import it into Excel. So now the Excel is ready with the data. So maybe the sheet 1 you can remove it. Usually I just remove it, and you can rename it to solid icons or something, just for your reference. Because sometime what I have done in my own case is that I have imported the solid icons, brand icons and the all icons into a different sheet, and you can have all the table in a same Excel, so that when you import your Excel into the PowerApps, you can see all the icons. So it is up to you. In this sample, I'm just importing only the solid icons, so I'll just leave it here. And take a note of that it is imported as a table, and if you go to the table design tab, you will see the table name, which is the solid. So maybe you can put it as solid icons. This is the name which is going to be referred within your PowerApps all the time. So give just a solid is fine, but give some meaningful name for the table, and which will be used every time within your PowerApps. In my case, I have renamed it to solid icons just for the reference. This is the table name. That's it. And finally, you save your Excel into your local folder, or it can be in any of your OneDrive or anywhere. It doesn't have to be shared. It just have to be saved, because later once we import it into PowerApps, all the copy of a data will be imported. So it doesn't matter where you save this Excel. In my case, I am saving into my OneDrive as fontawesome.xls. So later I would import it from there. Just a quick review of what we did in the steps. So basically we downloaded the file from the desktop as a fontawesome desktop, unzipped it, and we are using the solid icons which are there in the SVG folder, renaming it, then finally importing into Excel, transforming it to make it use within PowerApps. So all these steps have been completed now. Now let's move on to the next step, which is how to consume within your PowerApps. So to use within your PowerApps, you have to import the same Excel which is already there, and select the icon or insert as an image and then import the code. This is the step which I'm going to show you now. Let's start doing it. So now I'm here in the PowerApps. I'm going to create a new Canvas app, which will be a blank app. Most of the time I use a blank app, tablet layout, sorry. So okay, this is the blank PowerApps, which is a Canvas app. So here you would have a choice of importing your Excel. So just go to the data source and then type import. You will see import from Excel. So this import from Excel will give you a choice to load from the local. In my case, I have saved it in the OneDrive. So I'll choose a file from the OneDrive which is saved and then import it here. So once I imported, you can see here there is a solid icons, which is the table name which is specified in the Excel. The solid icons will be now loaded into the Excel, into the apps. Connect here. So once it is connected, you will see the fontawesome being imported here. So right now all the 1000 icons have been imported. maybe if you feel that you are not using all the solid icons, you can just import whatever the icons you are using to minimize the PowerApps from using too much of a data. So now that icons are ready, I'm going to demonstrate how to use that within PowerApps. To use those icons within PowerApps, SVG, as you can see, it is a vector graphics. Vector graphics used to scale to any of the sizes. So that's how we are going to make use of it. To make use of those icons, you need to insert an image, because all the icons are in the SVG format, which is an image. The size you can choose, it depends on the icon size. Basically, if you can choose the square size, say for example 65 by 65 in my case, that would be a better choice. But it really doesn't matter, it's a vector graphic, so it automatically scale based on the size. And you can see the image property of an image. This we're going to modify it to take an icon. So to show the icon, there is a specific format you need to follow. Just copy paste this one, and what it does is basically it looks up into your Excel as a data source. I'm using the function lookup of the data source, which is the solid icons, and the column name is the source dot name, which is inside this Excel, and there is an icon called user type which would be shown, and it takes a specific property, which is the path. Nothing but SVG is nothing but a kind of a polygon or a path which is drawn with a specific format. So the path which is imported from the Excel, again I'm looking up to a specific icon with the name, user type, and the attribute for the path. I am just taking the path. The view box is not the view box, and the path is the mandatory field, or is the way you can import it in the correct format. Sometime you can ignore this view box. This view box is the one which gives you the icon, the specific width and the height. It is mentioned in the Excel data template, so which will be used here. So finally, once it is imported, it will show the icon here. So right now it should be the white color. Let's see how it goes. Maybe I'll fill this with different color to make it prominent, so that the icons will be shown. For some reason it doesn't show up even after I fill in. Let me check the Excel. Okay, so the name is .xml, so it has to look up for a name XML. Let me change the data to show the XML. Yes, so now you can see that the icon has been displayed. Now we don't need the fill. Let me change it. Yes, so you can see now it adheres to any of the sizes, and it looks pretty much decent. And you can see that SVG, it is a vector format. You can use it in any of the sizes. So now that we have successfully imported the fontawesome icons, now you can use the thousands of icons which are coming from the fontawesome, which you can literally see here. All these icons, any of the icons, say for example you want to use the anchor icon, you can use it straight away because we have already imported it. So you can use it straight away here, saying that anchor. Hopefully anchor is solid. You can use it. See here. So it becomes like much easier to use all those 1000 icons. And as I mentioned you before, it's not mandatory you have to import everything. You can just import the icons whichever you need in. Okay. So now that the fontawesome is there, the next steps which I'm going to do is that I'm going to follow further steps for creating and designing the Bootstrap 4 type of a form. So for that, there are certain properties which you need to enable on the form. Later I would share those properties to be enabled as well, so that it's easy for you to do it after this video. And these are the snippet of the properties, especially for text box and the image which we have imported. You can use it right away here. For the demo purpose, I have a SharePoint which has a list, which is the schedule training, and it has fields which are title, description, level, topic, and whatever the form in. So I'm going to design a form to insert an item into this SharePoint list. So for that, I'm going back to my PowerApps. What I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a form, which is a edit form, and the data source for that is the connector, which is SharePoint, and I'll select the existing SharePoint, which is my own tenant, and I would use my own SharePoint, which is development. In that I have several lists. I would choose my schedule training, connect it. So what does so it is a pretty much standard step of adding a form within your PowerApps, and we are going to see how we make that form a bit beautiful with the fontawesome and the Bootstrap. Let me remove this attachment. Usually I don't like to play with attachment. Okay, so this is the standard PowerApps. Let me move this a bit. I need the code later. So the first step in designing the Bootstrap. So let me give you some sample about what is Bootstrap. You can see the Bootstrap is here. Bootstrap 4, you can just see the forms. We call it as an input group, and when you mouse over it or click on the focused text box, it becomes like the border becomes like kind of a blue, and these buttons are there. The buttons have different colors, and they have a typography for each color and the font. So you can follow this to design a pretty standard framework for your web-based. So I'm going to just make use of some of the features from this Bootstrap, which is especially the input group, which looks a pretty much decent. Like you can use icon, and side by you can use this control and design a form. So that is the objective which I'm going to follow. Okay, so now that you know some basics about the Bootstrap form, let me go back to PowerApps. So first step to convert your form into similar Bootstrap, you need to change your PowerApps theme to take gray theme, because this is pretty much standard. If you are using some other theme, then it becomes a different color. So select your gray theme. So now all the form controls have become gray icon, or the gray standard, which pretty much the Bootstrap standard. Then we'll now follow how to change it to a Bootstrap format. Usually I change it to single column. It's up to you how you design it. This doesn't matter. It's just a nicer way to see the form. And it is vertical, and I just need these controls. So later I'm going to modify that. That's it. Okay. So this is the standard form which I have, and I'm not changing anything yet. Now the first step in converting is that you will have to unlock it. There is no choice. You have to unlock it. You unlock your control, then change this width of the control. If you directly start changing the width of the control, it will not be responsive, but it's up to you. If you fixed with form, you don't need to change it based on the resizing, then you can leave that. But my suggestion is that you leave whatever the property which they have enabled it here. If you see here on the size, they have a formula which says parent.width minus 60, which means that whenever you align your parent, automatically this would have a gap of 60 pixels or whatever the width it would take. So what I'm going to do is that to make it a bit nicer, I'm going to change this value so that the component can be aligned. So I'm going to change this to 135 so that I will have a gap. So I'm just adding 135 just to have a gap to add the image later there, so that it can be designed in that way. So now that I have a gap, I need to move this bit on the right side so that I can have in a pretty good way. Now it is 30. I'm just moving into 105, which moves a bit, and then it is right aligned now. So 105 is a pretty good thing. So now that I have a space for the image, I take this image, which is maybe for a while it is anchor, and I'm going to change this to look a bit different. Change from edit to disabled, because this is just for the view, so I make it disable. It's up to you, you can make it to view, but I'm comfortable with making to disable. So I'm just changing it to disable, and I'm changing a pretty much standard size of 60 to 40. So this is the size I'm using it to make it look bit better, and the position should be 45, which is here, and the top you will have to specify exactly the same top of this one, so that you just copy this and select the image, and its top value should be, click on here and just paste it here. Okay, why it doesn't come here? Because let me select this, Control X, and it should be within the card. Remember to click the card here, then paste it, so that it takes the value appropriately. Okay, so now I just change it to here. Let me copy it again and then paste it here. Okay, so now you can see here it is pretty much aligned to the same height and the width. Now we need to make sure that it has some standard formatting to Bootstrap. The Bootstrap takes kind of gray format. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to fill this image with a standard gray color, so that it becomes easier. So go to fill. This is the standard gray color, I use it often. Fill with this and change it to 50. Automatically changes to 49. And remember that this control is now disabled, so you have to focus on this disabled color. Fill this one, custom, and then 50. That's it. Okay, so now it is kind of filled with that color. You need to add a border to it. So usually I select the border of third one, which is this, and specify the border here, and then solid border. That's it. So now that you can see the border and the icon here, add some padding so that the icon is not touching your border. You can see here now it is pretty much aligned, and it has nicely placed padding and the border. And the next one is that you will have to make sure that it looks a bit curved. So for that we need to look into the border radius. Let me go to the advanced and change only the required border radius, which is when you navigate to border radius on top left, I'm just going to change that to 5, and then radius on the bottom left, only these two, just change it to 5. Okay, leave these to 0. So now that it has a nicer format and there is a gap, that we will take care of it. We just move slightly to the right, then it becomes like, should be okay for that now. So right now it is on 45, 48, 1 minute, let's see, 45, 48, okay, let me change it to 45. Okay, 45. That's it. So now it is kind of a bootstrap. The only thing is it is slightly thicker. Select the text box and change it border into 1. That's it. Okay, so now it matches with your bootstrap here. Now when you play it, oops, let me select the form and show it in default mode is new mode. Just change it to new mode to show in the okay. So now that it is already there, it looks like a bootstrap. The other thing is that when you select the form or the focused, it is now gray because of the theme. That we are changing it into, you just go to the pressed or the focused fill color. Let me check. Pressed border, focused focused border color. Yes. So focused border color, change it into the one which I specify in the PPT. Let me copy that color, focused border color, copying here. Okay, so this is the bootstrap blue color which is focused, and I'm adding some transparency to it. It is up to you how you want to do it, but I'm trying to make it slightly perfect. So see here, so now when I click on it, it becomes somewhat similar to the bootstrap. So now the form is ready. You can now add those icons in any of the fields here. It is up to you how do you add it. It takes so much of a time, agree, but your form looks much better like a web form on the bootstrap. And one last thing I want to specify is that you can even change the icon color, like which I shown in the screenshot before. For changing the icon color, you need to specify the fill property in your path. So just go back to your image and the image property. Let me pick up the image. Okay, and you can see here there is a path. So for the path you need to specify fill color. Fill equal to, you can specify any RGB color. So RGB off. For example, if I want to have something like bootstrap blue color, so the bootstrap blue color, you need to know the RGB value. If you know the RGB value bootstrap color, then you can specify the RGB color, or else you can even specify your hexa color. So it is up to you what color you are into. So based on the color you specify, it takes the color there. So in my case, I'm going to take the hexagonal color. So for example, let me remove this, paste it here. That's it. This is the bootstrap primary color. They have a primary color which is okay. So now the icon color can be changed. So similar way you can get your own branding RGB or the hex color code and specify in your icon. So similarly I started designing all these field, and final product of my field will look like the one which is shown here. Let me open this app. Okay, so the final design will be like this, which I have designed. I took some time to find out each icon and then add the icon, change the color, so it looks a bit easier or a bit nicer form. So that's how I designed the Bootstrap and fontawesome within the PowerApps. Hope you like the video. Share and then like if you really find it useful. Thank you so much.